So, hi, Maggie. I'm so excited to have you on the Undunn podcast today. How are you?
Doing well. Thanks for having me. Excited to be here.
Yes, and hi, Undunn fam. Thank you guys so much for joining us today. Today's guest is Maggie Ortlieb, a graduate of Michigan State University with experience in both the corporate and nonprofit worlds. Maggie is the founder of VegOut Magazine and is dedicated to creating a kinder and healthier planet. Maggie is a change advocate for individuals looking to transition to a plant-based diet or reduce consumption of animal products. She has been vegan for 8 years and vegetarian since she was a child. So much to unpack here. Maggie, again, thank you for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, so Maggie, I'm a newbie. I'm a vegan newbie. I just started January 4th of this year. I went on a fast, and after the fast, I just decided to, continue to not eat meat. It had nothing to do really with the animal aspect of it, but as I've learned more about it, I've become more aware and I'm educating myself more on that. But it's been a journey, and I came across Veg Out in my quest to educate myself and become more aware of the vegan lifestyle. And you guys have been such a huge inspiration and source for me on this journey. So thank you. I wanted to first ask you, you've been a vegetarian since you were 11 years old. Was there a particular life event that informed this? How did that happen for you?
Yeah, so from a young age, I was always an animal lover. We always had pets around growing up, and then it wasn't until one summer, like you said, I was 11. I went down to visit my cousins in Indiana. I'm from Michigan, and my brother and I spent a few weeks there. And my older cousin Molly, I just remember sitting across the kitchen table from her, eating some beef jerky, not even thinking about it. Just that's what I usually snack on, whatever. And she just looked in my eyes and said, "How can you love animals while you're eating an animal, while you're eating a cow?"
Right.
And that's when it clicked for me. And that's when I made the connection. I would say up until that point, I was always asking my mom, what McDonald's drive-thru, what animal is this with the chicken nugget, or what animal is this with the burger? But that is when it actually clicked that what I was eating, what was on my plate, was an animal. And I never looked back from that point. After that, of course, I learned more and more about the lifestyle, and I became aware of like the other benefits of being vegetarian and then vegan. But at the time, it was really because of the animals.
I relate to that story because I stopped eating beef and pork at the same age, around 10 or 11. My sister did it in college when she was in college, and, like wanting to be like my big sister, I did the same thing. Did you ever like drift back or like, venture back into eating beef unintentionally or meat products unintentionally?
Definitely. I think like with any transition, any change, there's always like that time period where you're getting used to it and there's the slip ups, which happen. And I think it was probably on the way back, driving back to, my house in Michigan, stopping at a Taco Bell drive through, ordering what I usually order, just like a beef taco, not thinking about it, getting a few bites in, and then, my mom pointing out like, "I thought you were a vegetarian." So I think it took a while, but I knew it was something I wanted it to be, forever change in lifestyle.
Wow, that's so inspiring. You moved here to Los Angeles over 6 years ago from Michigan, and you saw that there was the need for a space specifically for vegans to be educated and informed on the vegan happenings and just be aware of what's going on in the vegan community here in LA. Maggie, that is so incredible. Talk to us about your journey in creating this vegan media company, VegOut, which is distributed both digitally and in print.
Yeah, so when I moved here, I was, trying to make the most of moving to a new city, checking out all the restaurants, the events, the things to do. And I was using Time Out and LA Weekly and Eater, the different sites that existed. But what I was finding is that most of them, at least all the food stuff, was meat heavy, animal product heavy. And it was really hard to find the vegan options. And I wasn't going to go to an event and pay, big entrance fee if all the food was chicken and burgers. So I knew this stuff existed. I just needed to find it. And so I was doing a lot of research, using different guides, Happy Cow, Yelp, different things to try to find these restaurants and these events. And I figured if I was having this much, difficulty and doing all this work, other people probably were experiencing the same thing. And I wanted to create some type of curated guide for people to make it easy, not only for locals, but tourists as well, to enjoy the amazing options we have here in Los Angeles.
And there are a ton.
Yeah.
Thanks to you, I'm, aware of that, but I did not realize that. There are so many places that they're like restaurants fully like dedicated vegan restaurants. Maggie, yeah. I had no idea before. All I knew about was the Impossible Burger and the Beyond Burger. Girl.
Yeah, see, I love this. See, because I forget what it's like when you first, transition to veganism or vegetarian. And it's always a nice reminder when I hear it firsthand of someone saying, I didn't realize there were all these restaurants, because I could name them like, off the, top of the head, but like, I love that. So we're doing our job.
Oh, 1000%. You saw a need. And that's what, they say is the key to success, when you identify a problem and you find the solution to fixing it. And I think that you have been able to do that. As a female founder, Maggie, what struggles did you face early on, and how did you utilize those struggles to help you in the long run?
Yeah, I think what took me a long time to develop and work on is, I come from the corporate world, so I've always kind of been told what to do and, do your job and clock out, that whole thing. But when you're running your own company, especially as a female founder, you're going to be sitting at tables or, on calls with people, a lot of times like much older males. And you really have to speak up, and you have to like take ownership of your company and not let other people tell you what to do when it comes to your company. And that took a long time. Like, I was constantly anxious about like, am I saying the right thing? Am I doing the right thing? Like, maybe this person knows better than me. But at the end of the day, you know your business better than anyone else. You created it from scratch. Right. In your heart, you know what's right. And I mean, I was gonna relate it to like having a child, which I don't have a child, so I kind of like hate doing that. But I can imagine it's like you have to stick up for your company. You have to stick up for your child, right? So just not letting people push you around, step on you, tell you what to do, think they know better than you. And of course, you're gonna sit in meetings where it's super demeaning. It's super, like, we've all been through that. And you get off and you're just so frustrated. But I think just waking up every day and like not letting that stuff stop you from like working toward your mission. Right. It takes a while, but I feel like it's a constant struggle. I finally met the point where I'm confident, sitting in those meetings, and I don't feel like I know less than the person sitting across from me.
Right. Wow. Speaking of corporate, I came from a corporate background as well before I transitioned. How long did it take you? How long was it? Talk to us or walk us through the process of you're working on VegOut. When did you decide that, okay, I'm going to leave my corporate job to go and pursue my passion? And how did you arrive at that decision in that moment to make that, big life choice for yourself?
Yeah. So I started VegOut at the same time I started my last corporate job. And then I was at that corporate job for almost 3 years. So I was working VegOut and the corporate job pretty much both full time for 3 years until I decided to take the leap. And for me, it wasn't like having enough, because a lot of people, everyone does it differently. Some people just take the leap. Some people, it's a little more calculated and they want to make sure they're making as much money as like they, and then they kind of transition. For me, it wasn't like making sure I had the money safety net. It was about strategizing. How can I do this? No, we're not like making, at the time when I left, we weren't really even we weren't really making money, which is crazy to think about, like leaving a steady paycheck with good benefits at a great firm, right, for something that wasn't making money, but I just believed in so much. It's crazy to think about, but I was just strategic. And at the time my mom was living in Orange County. I was in my, mid 20s. And I was like, I could go live with my mom for a while I take a chance on myself and try to make this work. Right. And no, I won't be bringing in money. I'm going to have to get rid of my nice car. I'm going to have to get rid of my nice gym membership. I'm going to have to make these temporary sacrifices, but it's for long-term gain. And I think if you talk to any founder, entrepreneur, we are willing to put everything into our business that none of that other stuff matters. Like, you know, my friends are driving nice cars, going fancy gyms, buying clothes, vacations. I was willing to say like no to all of that to work on my business. And it's hard. Like you have to turn down friend trips and you have to turn things down, but you know, you do it for the love of your mission and what you're trying to, you know, change the world.
Yes.
But that's really how I did it is I worked both for like a few years. And then when I knew that like VegOut wasn't going to grow until I put all my energy into it. And even if, you know, you're working some part-time job, I feel like it's still taking some of your energy.
Right.
And sometimes you just have to, like people have bills to pay. You just have to work 2 jobs at once. But I knew I just needed to focus it all and I needed to strategize how I could do that. So I moved in with my mom, pretty much sold everything and focused for like a year.
Wow. So many things. Okay. Did you feel like when you made that decision, did you feel at all like I'm going to have a backup plan, or was there no backup plan? Was it, you know, because people are like, well, if this doesn't work, I have a backup plan. Then there's some people that are like, no, this is going to work. This is my backup plan. What was it for you?
Yeah, I think I always kind of in the back of my mind was thinking, because I had a really good relationship with my last, you know, firm I worked for, and my boss was amazing and kind of like worked with me to like, you know, I did transition down to part-time before I left completely. So I knew they were great and would have me back if I wanted. So I think in the back of my mind, I was like, I can always go back, right? But, and then I had this like big fear before I left that job. I had this big fear of like, I'm going to regret this so much. Like, what am I doing? Like this, especially being from the Midwest where it's like, go to school, go to a good college, get a job. Yeah. It's like, exactly. So it's like, what I can't do, you know, I'm crazy.
Right.
But then the moment I left, like the last time I walked out that door, I thought I would like come back. I would literally have not regret. Like as soon as I walked out that door of my last job, even though it was a great job, I never looked back. And so I think I always like before quitting, that kind of like was the comfort of like, I can always come back. But after that, there was no looking back. There was no backup plan. I was like all in. And I think that's how I do most things is I'm really not afraid of taking risks. I go all in on things. But you have to, I feel like it's just, backup plans are good, but I feel like it also is kind of like having that safety net. I don't think I would have pushed as hard as I pushed.
Maggie, that is so good. What advice would you give our viewers who are watching or listening to this that are wanting to, you know, leave the comfort of their corporate job or the comfort of, you know, their safety net to pursue the passion that's within them that they've been doing on the side. And now they're wanting to, you know, okay, I think I want to take it serious, but I'm not sure, I'm afraid. They're stuck in the middle. What advice would you share?
Yeah, I mean, I would say going off of Nike's slogan, like I would say just do it. Like just do it, especially if you have like low risk, right? Like if you don't have like a family you have to provide for, which I was lucky enough, like I didn't have any dependents, like I wasn't in a relationship. I didn't have like all of these other factors where it was just me and there wasn't that much to lose. And you know, I didn't have, I feel like if you don't have too much to lose, then go for it. Like just freaking go for it. But that said, I would also say that you like tap into your intuition, because I feel like you really have to listen to, my mom always points this out, but I feel like I am better at thinking with my gut or my intuition than my brain, because my brain is always telling me I should do these things. I shouldn't leave my corporate job. But really like take some time to meditate, listen to your gut and listen to your, you know, instinct. I think it's so important and it's not talked about enough in the business world. It's very like mathematical and like practical, but like really listen to yourself. Only you know the best decision for you and for your business. And that said, like not everyone is cut out for this. Not everyone's an entrepreneur. Not everyone wants to be, but like is cut out to be a business owner, a founder. It's a lot of work. And I never downplay that for anyone, because it's a lot of work and it's a roller coaster and you're going to, you know, cry a lot and I mean, not every day is like glamorous. There's a lot of great perks and fun things about the job, but it is exhausting at the same time. So just make sure that you're ready for that before you jump in.
Wow. Look, mic drop. That's the end of the podcast. That's good. Maggie, I know all about that. I know everything about what you just said. What's the thing that keeps you going? What has been the thing that has sustained you in those moments of, wanting to give up, I'm sure, or like saying, okay, I don't know about this, or doubting yourself? What has been the thing that has sustained you through it all?
I think two things. I think one is going back to the mission, like why I started. And always, anytime I feel like I've just gotten so far removed and like totally doubting or just like going a different direction, pulling myself back to why I started, what the core mission is. If you get rid of all of the, like for us, like all the articles, all the other stuff on top, like what is our mission? Like we're helping people eat more plant-based foods, right? Like that is our core mission. And so going back to that and like why we exist and like hearing your stories when people actually DM me on Instagram or email me or like, yes, like hearing people's stories of how we've changed their lives or been a resource or, like eating plant-based isn't just like a trend or whatever. It's life and death for people. It really can save your life, your health and your life. And so hearing those stories is amazing. And then the second thing I would say is my team. I have the most amazing team in the world. And even when I'm doubting myself, doubting my abilities, doubting the company, they're always there to like lift me up, and they believe in it as much as I believe in it. And I think surrounding yourself with that type of support system and those people who are as passionate as you about what you're doing is the most important thing, which also isn't talked enough about in business. It's not just about the money and the different, it's like human resources it's like the biggest thing. If you don't have a great team, your company isn't going to be successful.
Wow. And let me ask you that before I dive into my million questions about the vegan lifestyle. How did you build your team? How did you like create and build your team? Because you started by yourself. So were there people that saw what you were doing and were interested in working with you? Can you speak to that a little bit?
Yeah, exactly what you said. There were people who, I was doing all this on my own, the Instagram page, and then I would get DMs, and it was all really by intuition. I've never really put out a job posting. I think in the beginning, it was kind of like maybe a call for writers on Instagram. Like we put up like a few posts or something like that. But it was really just, so my mom came on board like shortly after I started. She's a writer. Her background is in writing. She's been vegan 15 years now. And so she's my managing editor, which is amazing.
And shout out to the queen. Okay, Women's History Month. That's a beautiful sentiment and nod to you and your mom. That's amazing.
Thank you. No, I mean, I feel super lucky to be able to work like that closely with my mom, and she's so talented. She's the best managing editor I could ask for. And then from there, it was really people just reaching out to us saying like, I love what you're doing. I'd love to be a part of this. And it's funny in the beginning, it's like, are you hiring? And I'm like, we're not making money. Like in the beginning, it's like, I can't even pay myself. Like, are we hiring? And so it was just like this, just really good-hearted, passionate people about the movement that came to me. And in the beginning, they knew that like, I couldn't pay. So we were all just kind of working on this thing with hopes that like, it would build and become something in the future. And I feel like that's the best way to find employees. Not to say like, people are just going to like work for free, but people who before just like looking for a job and looking for money are actually passionate about the work and interested in like what you're building versus like just wanting a paycheck. And so that's how my teams come to me. It's been people who've been super passionate about the mission and really just want to be part of something bigger and weren't just looking for, a 9-to-5 like paycheck kind of thing. Like it's not like that. Like it was very cool how it's evolved. And we're a small but like tight knit team, and it's like a family. I love it.
And I think they believed in you more so than anything, for them to come on board. They believed in you and your vision and what you had. That speaks volumes to you, Meg. I want to dive into this vegan lifestyle and vegan culture. I have so many questions. How has the vegan culture changed for you, like in your research? And what have you found to be the things that have evolved and changed over the course of the time since you started VegOut?
Yeah. So, well, since I first went vegan, I'll say like it has evolved so much. Like when I first went vegan, if you would have told me that like fast food chains had all these options, I would have not believed you. Like it's crazy that you can go to Carl's Jr., you can go to Del Taco. All these spots have good vegan options, not just like beans and rice, but like you can get Beyond Meat, you can get different things, right? I never would have, thought that I would see the day that would happen. So just the food evolving is like incredible.
Mm-hmm.
But then also I think the community evolving. So since I started, I feel like since I started VegOut, I feel like in the beginning it was smaller, like a smaller community. Mm-hmm. And now I feel it's just expanded. Like there's so many different, which is so cool. So many different types of people that like I meet and they say, I'm vegan. I'm like, you're vegan? Like in the beginning, I feel like there's like a very stereotypical person that you might think
yes.
is vegan. And now there are people like, I meet like men who are like bodybuilders. And I'm like, what? Like, I feel like so many different types, or like, dads, or like just so many different types of people that you wouldn't initially think this person's vegan, and they're eating plant-based. So I love that aspect.
And so the conversation around a vegan lifestyle has increased, and more people are trying it out, like myself. Why are people wanting to transition to the vegan lifestyle? What have you heard? Why are people wanting to do that?
So several reasons. I think right now, especially with coronavirus, I think the biggest thing right now is people are kind of waking up and realizing how detrimental factory farming is, but also like the environment aspect. So the environmental aspect, the way we like raise meat in this country, it's just not sustainable. So I think that's a huge one for people, but also the education around the health aspect. And I'd be curious to know like why you decided to stick with like giving up meat. But I feel like people are realizing that what they're putting in their body is like that is life or death. Like you are either feeding disease or you're healing your body. And it's so important to like eat foods that are healing your body and healthy for us. And just, I think there's becoming more education around, there was a lot of marketing campaigns and things funded by the dairy industry that are just not true, that people are brainwashed with. And a lot of people are waking up and challenging that and realizing what I've been told this whole time, with other movements as well. I think people in general across different social causes are realizing the way that it's been done is not
right.
Not the way. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And what are some myths? What are like some of the biggest myths about being vegan and, choosing that vegan lifestyle? What are the myths that are out there that you want to dispel?
Yeah. The biggest one is protein. Like vegans don't get enough protein. That is the biggest one. And it's interesting because most people get too much protein. Most people get too much animal-based protein, which actually is bad for your health. So we don't need as much protein as you generally hear people say, unless you're like a crazy athlete, which most of us aren't. You don't need that much protein. And so really you can get protein from pretty much anything you're already eating. Even like spinach has protein. Sure, it's not like a crazy amount, but if you're eating foods throughout the day and they all contain protein, you don't really need to have like a big hunk of chicken to get your protein.
Right.
There are things like, tofu and mock meats and things like that have more protein that help you get those nutrients in. So really, if you're just eating a well-rounded diet, even if you're not, you're probably getting enough protein. You aren't going to die from not getting enough protein. That's like one that I just, anytime someone's like, oh, I thought about going vegan, but like, how do you get protein? It's like, every food has protein in it.
Right. Okay. That's good. I'm glad you said that, Mag, because I've heard people say that in the comments, like on, I'm on the different pages and I'll see people saying that about the different meats. And I'm like, that's interesting. I'll tell you a little bit about me and why I chose it to go vegan or to stick with it. I think I'm almost at 2 months now. I'm excited. I'm so
nice.
Myself. So I've had this long history of a love-hate relationship with food. I had an eating disorder from the time that I was like in the first grade up until like 2010. And so I've struggled with food, right? And so I've been back and forth on, what's best for me and what's not best for me. And then this particular time around when I did the fast, I just didn't want to go back to eating. I felt like I wasn't eating crazy, but I was like, I want to make some healthy lifestyle changes, right? And so that was my main reason for, because on the fast we couldn't eat any meat. So I was like, okay, I did it, and like I don't want to go back to eating meat. I want to continue on with this, this path. And I will say, it kind of made my digestive system work like in a way that it hadn't worked before. Excuse me, Sam. But I was like, wait a minute, like I'm so regular. And so I have to ask you, what are the health benefits of being a vegan? Because I've noticed like my skin being clearer. And I don't know if that's due to the no dairy part of it all, but can you speak to like the health benefits of it?
Yeah, there's so many health benefits. Like you named it. I mean, it's just like getting more fiber in, like literally just like going to the bathroom regularly, skin clearing up, just natural weight loss where you don't have to like try, it just kind of like you just feel like lighter.
Right.
And of course, like I will say there's like an unhealthy way to do vegan diet, and then there's a healthy way to do vegan diet. But then like I would say even if you are like on the unhealthy side, you're still not getting all that cholesterol. There's no cholesterol in plant-based foods. So like even if you're eating mock meats, you're not getting any of that cholesterol. Just so many things. I mean, it can really like cure and reverse diseases. There's just so much research out there done by plant-based doctors that I actually was at this conference last year with a bunch of these plant-based doctors, and hearing them speak, I mean, I was just like, why would you not go vegan? Like there's so many benefits. It's amazing. And like working out, like I feel like your workout, at least when I, became vegan, I feel like I could just run forever. Like I feel like my energy is like so much better.
It's been insane. And like my husband, he's not gone vegan, but he kind of is, because we eat dinner, like he'll eat dinner with me vegan, but during the day when he's at work, he'll eat, his normal things. So he's kind of even converting over, and he's speaking like to the whole thing about like the flow and the digestive tract is just, girl,
yeah,
like, this is it. I was like, I love this. I love it so much. What are some vegan trends we should be paying attention to? And I have to also ask, are there any fast food, Chick-fil-A, are they coming with something? Because I kind of read a little bit. Talk to us, Maggie.
So I haven't heard anything about Chick-fil-A, but McDonald's is launching a vegan burger, which is crazy. I never thought I'd see the day. And I definitely feel like, I mean, big companies and fast food giants would be silly not to like cater to the trend and like not launch a plant-based option. So I think probably this year, next year, and then increasingly, we're going to see a lot more options at quick serve, plant-based, or, fast food restaurants. And then also just, I don't know. I just feel like the products at the grocery store, now you can go, like it used to be just the milk section was all milk. Now it's all oat milk, almond milk, everything. So more and more, like Chobani launched vegan yogurt last year, and like oat milk and oat creamer, like all these big brands launching these products. I think we're just going to see more and more of it.
Wow, I'm excited to see it. Meg, what advice would you share with those who are watching and listening, who are wanting to transition or considering a plant-based vegan lifestyle? And also, I will ask you, go ahead and you can answer that. What advice would you share with those watching and listening wanting to transition?
So I would say, take it slow. Don't be too hard on yourself. You don't have to. I mean, it's great. Like some people can go cold turkey, and that's awesome. But like I have a friend up in the Bay Area, and she just transitioned out dairy. So you can, just give up one thing at a time and start to see how that affects your body, and really do what's right for your body. And you don't have to feel pressure from anyone else. You don't have to be 100% in or 100% out. It's not a club. You don't have to be 100% vegan. We're here for you. Like when you're ready to fully jump over, you can fully jump over, but you don't have to, and you don't necessarily ever have to. It's about eating more plant-based.
Right.
More people eating more plant-based is the mission. I understand, like I was raised eating meat. We all were. So it's not your fault that you're raised eating meat or that that's what you've been eating. I feel like the shame tactic doesn't work. People want to know they're supported. and with that, we will get more people eating plant-based, and it's going to be great for the environment, for their bodies, for the animals. I mean, it's just a win-win-win.
That's what I was going to ask you about. Can you be part-time? Because I see the vegan shame community is big and large. They will shame. They will say, do not eat that. They make those fries with that, or they will, you know.
Oh, I know.
I know.
We get so many comments like, this isn't like, yeah, don't even get me started. There's so many like people, I would say like haters out there who are like super vegan, but like, I would say I'm kind of in, like, of course I'm vegan, I'm plant-based, like that's my lifestyle, but I understand like the mainstream. And I realized to merge these two together, we have to have understanding, right? Like we can't just expect everyone to like know that there was like beef fat in those fries at McDonald's. Like people don't know that, right? Like, they're trying their best. Don't shame them. And so just creating more, that's part of our mission too, is just being welcoming, being more mainstream, trying to, help people eat more plant-based and not feeling like it's like an exclusive club, which I feel like unfortunately, like a lot of the community is. I mean, there are also like really great companies and resources and blogs and people who are like super welcoming, and I love it. But there is that like, I would say like smaller percentage where you feel like you're going to get attacked if you like, ask a question or do something wrong. So
right. I don't even post I post my food on my stories. Like if I go to a place, I'll post it just so they, people can know about it. But I don't even, because I don't want people like, if I slip, I don't want somebody to be like, wait a minute, I thought you were vegan.
Exactly. And then even saying like, oh, I'm vegan. And then people are like, oh, well, that's not vegan. It's like, yeah, it's like, well, it takes a bit. And like, even I have accidentally eaten cheese or accidentally eaten honey or accidentally eaten something. Like it happens living in the world we live in. It's gonna happen. Even if you like grow your own food, it's really impossible to be like 100% vegan, right? It's like getting as close to that as we can.
Thank you for telling us that. I feel like much better. I hope you guys do too. Okay, Maggie, this has been like a debate I've also been seeing play out on social media and just in my research. I tell you, girl, I've been like trying to learn from this.
I love it.
Okay, can you explain the difference between vegan and vegetarian?
Yes. So vegetarian is so it's kind of evolved. Okay, so we'll start with vegetarian.
Okay.
Vegetarian is not eating any meat products. So you don't eat beef, you don't eat fish, you don't eat any of that. Vegan, you don't eat any of that. Plus, you don't eat eggs, you don't eat honey, you don't eat dairy. So milk and cheese. And then it extends, I would say veganism extends beyond just like what you're putting on your plate. And it's more of a lifestyle too. So you don't wear leather, you don't wear animal products, you don't wear the different things, and you don't have them in your house, maybe in your car. But there's also this newer term, plant-based, which I've always used vegan and plant-based interchangeably. That's still kind of how I use them. But I would say that plant-based is more like your diet, what you put in your mouth. Vegan is more like a whole lifestyle. That's how people use them. But I still use the word vegan as like, this burger is vegan, right? Like, I don't say like, this is a plant-based burger, but I use them interchangeably. However, I think there are some people who strictly are plant-based and they don't really care. Like they'll still wear leather, they'll still do whatever. That said, what annoys me is lately a lot of these like companies have been jumping on the plant-based trend. Right. Say something's plant-based and it still has like egg in it. And I'm like, how is this plant-based? And so it's become a marketing term that you have to really pay attention to, because you'll pick up a product at the store and it'll say plant-based. And then it's like very like veggie forward, but it still has like secretive like milk or egg in it that you have to like read the labels. So always read labels, because I've noticed people start using that as a marketing term. But yeah, vegetarian, just no meat products. Vegan, no meat products, plus no dairy, no eggs, pretty much anything that causes suffering or like harm to animals.
Right. Wow. Oh, this is so good. I'm just like over here with my mouth open. Okay. This is so good. What are some of your favorite vegan restaurants here in LA, Meg? Because you are all over the place. I like to see you. You're like at all of the different places, like with your burgers, your hot dogs. I'm like, oh my God.
Yes, there's so many great options. I would say at the moment, my favorites, Monty's Good Burger. If you haven't tried Monty's, Yeah, if you haven't tried, they are like the closest thing to like what I remember eating. You know, it's like the burgers, the fries, the shake.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the vegan in and out. So they're amazing. And then Nick's on Beverly, that's more of like, have you been there?
It's on my list to try.
Okay, yeah. So
It's
their pizza, like their whole menu is great, but like I will go just for the pizza. Like their Detroit style pizza is my favorite pizza. And then actually Purgatory Pizza downtown has like a deep dish pizza, which is also good. And they're opening a vegan pizza restaurant soon. So there's constantly places opening even during the pandemic. One of my favorites is currently closed. They're going to reopen, but they're called Hinterhof, and it's an all vegan German restaurant in Highland Park. So it's like you can get like the schnitzel, the spätzle, like all the like meat heavy German foods, but it's like all vegan.
Okay. So like Cruiser Pizza. Have you eaten Cruiser?
I've had Cruiser. They were like one of the OGs. Like I feel like they were around when I very first moved here. I would eat from them. I haven't been there lately, but yeah, that's the thing. Like when I first moved here, the number of vegan restaurants to now the number of vegan, it's crazy.
Yeah, I want to try Crossroads. That's also on my list.
Oh.
I've been looking for like a vegan Italian.
So Pura Vida in West Hollywood, they're a vegan Italian spot. Pura Vida, and then Hollywood just opened a vegan meatball shop, which is also like an Italian. It's called Brothers Meatballs. So there's Brothers Meatballs, there's Pura Vida.
Okay.
There's just so many freaking restaurants now. But no, Crossroads, I would say they're another one of the like the originals. They're probably like my favorite restaurant. That's hard to say. I was gonna say they're one of my favorites in LA because their food, they just won our we just did an awards and they won the best vegan restaurant nationwide.
Award. Girl, I'm like, look, I love it all. Meg, what I love about VegOut, and you have a fan in me now, like you're stuck with me. What I love is that you guys highlight Black vegan restaurants and chefs, and I love that. You know, not just during Black History Month, but before Black History Month. Why is that important for VegOut to highlight, people of color in the vegan community?
Yeah, it's so important. I think for any business to highlight, anyone who has a platform to highlight that, right? But also specifically in the vegan movement, in the vegan community, like I was saying before, I think people have this like stereotypical, when you think of a vegan, what do you think? Maybe this like skinny white chick who does yoga, right? Like you have this like vision, but it's much more than that. And it's much more diverse than that. And showing that it's like that, I think breaking those myths and what people think of veganism. Like the fact is, Black people have been eating vegan probably way longer than white people have, but it's just not like talked about in the mainstream media. And there's so many entrepreneurs, chefs, people of color doing great things. And what I find is a lot of times like people don't know they exist because there's not an article on them, or they don't have a social media presence or whatever it is. And so being able to like highlight that is, I just feel like it's the bare minimum we can do, but it's also just like showing people that it's not just these like, these spots in West Hollywood. Like there's like more than just these like spots in there's like a whole, like you can go anywhere in LA, you can go like anywhere and you'll find a really cool vegan spot. And highlighting more like cultures too. I feel like there's great Mexican spots, like great, just different cultures, creating like vegan food from what they were used to, and like, making a vegan version of that everyone can enjoy. So just like having the platform to be able to share that with our audience, I think it's important.
And Meg, I just have to continue to speak to the fact that your platform, VegOut, have made this journey for me so much more feasible, accessible, easier for me to like find Black-owned, vegan restaurants. Just like you said, different cultures that I didn't even know about. I love Mexican food. Mm-hmm. Watching and going on your page and going on your site, I've been educated. So again, thank you so much. Meg, what is your hope for the vegan community as we move forward, even like forward post-COVID? What is your hope?
My hope is that it keeps getting bigger. Like I hope that people continue to join us and the movement keeps growing and big companies start making changes that are better for, you know, the planet, for people. And that, yeah, that more people keep waking up and realizing that this is the way of the future, that we've been kind of sleeping on this for a while now. It's been repressed, but it's time to like bring it out and address how we eat. The whole food system needs to be completely dismantled and rebuilt, because the food system, I could go on and on about this, but the food system is like horrible in America. And in a lot of other countries now too, but the way we raise meat, the way we, even vegetables, the way we farm is not ideal, but that, you know, that's another fight. But just people waking up about the food movement and about our food system and trying to be part of that change is really what I hope.
What's next for VegOut? You also have a New York, right? VegOut New York, and what's next for VegOut?
Yeah, so let me address that. So we started as VegOut Los Angeles. That's what we started. We started our print magazine a couple years ago, and it was just LA. But we've since expanded. Then we were doing LA and New York. Now we are nationwide. So we launched nationwide last fall. Thank you. So now our magazine's in stores across the country, because we just felt like, although like I love Los Angeles and the community here, we could reach so many more people. And so our digital content and our print content is now across the nation. Our Instagram pages are divided by city. So which is important, because like if you live in LA, you want to know the LA restaurants.
Right.
So Instagram, you'll find VegOut Los Angeles, VegOut New York, VegOut Chicago, VegOut San Francisco. So everyone in, you know, the respective city can follow along and check out restaurants in their city. But then when you go to the website or the print magazine, it has everything. And you can filter on the website to just find the Los Angeles stuff. But yeah, we're trying to bring content to as many people across the country as possible.
And you guys also have a fashion component to it, right?
Yeah, so we've expanded our content, so it's not just food. Like we first were just focused on restaurants, and now we have fashion, so sustainable clothing brands. We do like interviews with celebrities and influencers. And chefs, and we do, you know, different types of things like that.
Wow. So, Maggie, you are such an inspiration.
Thank you.
I'm so excited that you did this. Thank you again. Look, again, you have a fan in me, your resources and what you're providing, and you're fixing a problem. So again, I thank you for that. Before you go, tell the people where they can find you on social media. Yeah,
so if you're in LA, VegOut Los Angeles is our Instagram handle. And then, like I said, we have VegOut New York, VegOut Chicago. If you just start typing in VegOut, they'll all pop up. VegOut Magazine is our main account, and so that kind of covers the country. And then VegOutMag.com. And if you go there, you'll be able to subscribe to our magazine and check out all our different content. So. And then what if they want to follow you, Meg? Follow me personally. I know sometimes I am my company. Me personally, it's Maggie Ortlieb. So Maggie. E is my middle initial, since I couldn't just get my first and last name, and then Ortlieb, Ortlieb. I love it. This was so good. Before you go, can you do you want to play a little rapid fire with me? Ooh, sure. Okay, it's done in 60 seconds, so it'll be really quick, really painless. Okay. Favorite vegan fast food? Vegan fast food, Chipotle. I love Chipotle. Favorite vegan meal to cook? Ooh, rapid fire. I would say like, okay, it's not really cooking, but smoothies. I love making smoothies. Okay. It's cooking. What would people be surprised to learn about you? Surprised to learn about me. See, I'm not very good at the rapid fire. I feel like it's more like extended rapid fire. I know. I mean that I don't know. Okay. There's so many things.
Okay,
well, I will say just a fun fact. I don't know if it's a surprising thing, but I've traveled to like every state except for Alaska and Hawaii. So I need to add that.
Oh, okay, that's good. Last show you binged?
Last show, I'm currently watching Ginny and Georgia on Netflix. So
I got into it, but I stopped it. So is it good?
It's an interesting show. Like I can't tell if I like it or not, but that's what I'm currently binging. So
okay. What can't you live without?
What can't I live without? Oatmeal in the morning. I feel like that. Oh, and matcha. I feel like matcha is like it keeps me going. So
okay. What brings you joy?
My family. I would say people. My family, my friends, authentic, good people.
And Mag, you brought us joy. You brought me joy. You have brought me so much joy. So thank you again so much for joining us today. I appreciate you. I know that the viewers and the listeners are going to learn and be able to educate themselves so much on what you have to say. So thank you so much.
Thank you. And it was so nice meeting you and talking to you, and good luck on your vegan journey. And I hope we can continue to be a resource for you and for all your listeners, and feel free to reach out with questions anytime.
Oh, Mag, I'm going to be in your DM. Don't worry.
I love it.
Thank you so much.